Look, you get pretty sick of watching the ABC, what's happening on the streets and all sorts of commentary about a ceasefire. Why doesn't Israel stop the war in the Middle East? Here's one of the best and pithiest answers about what should happen in the Middle East. It comes directly from the mouth of Antony Blinken, the US Secretary of State. Have a look.
Here, many countries urging the end to this conflict, which we would all like to see. I hear virtually no one saying, demanding of Hamas that it stop hiding behind civilians, that it lay down its arms, that it surrender. This is over tomorrow if Hamas does that. This would have been over a month ago, 6 weeks ago, if Hamas had done that. And how can it be that there are no demands made of the aggressor and only demands made of the victim?
Let me bring in Colin Rubenstein from the Australian Israel and Jewish Affairs Council. Colin, I know you agree with that argument, but it is astounding we don't hear it in public debate or from many world leaders, especially when you consider that since October the 7th, the atrocities on that day, Hamas has been firing rockets into southern Israel most days.
Indeed it has. And of course, it's still inflicting misery on its own people, quite callously and quite deliberately. Everyone feels aghast at the suffering of the innocents in Gaza, obviously in Israel as well. But the responsibility for this rests completely on Hamas. As Secretary Blinken said, lay down their arms, hand over the hostages, and this is over tomorrow. That's the end of the suffering. But we have to, of course, understand that Hamas is not interested in its civilians. It's interested in pursuing its genocidal, barbaric, ideological agenda, which is to destroy Israel and of course, to kill Jews. And, of course, it's not even purely about Palestine. It's Islamist agenda to spread its wings throughout the region. And, of course, in line with the agenda of its master, Iran, which is actually the big picture in all of this that nobody's talking about, but is deadly serious.
But it was great clarity there from Antony Blinken. It's just a pity we don't hear more of that from other political leaders around the world, because that's where the pressure should be, right on Hamas and countries supporting it like Iran, as you mentioned. I wanted to get you quickly, Colin, on the rising anti-Semitism in this country. It's been disgusting to see. It's shocked many of us what's unfolded in Australia these past couple of months. And there's been another incident with a man wearing the kippah, the Jewish headwear, on a Jetstar flight and copping abuse and being accused of his country killing babies while he's just trying to fly from one city to the other.
It's appalling, Chris, and I still haven't heard about any action against the Jetstar steward who told the passengers at the end of the flight, announced also Free Palestine, proclaiming his views. But this gentleman was also pursued in the airport. I'm reliably told by police, federal police, and of course the state police are involved, that this abusive behaviour, this harassment amounts to an offence. And if that's the case, you'd want to see action not only by the superiors to Jetstar against their employees, but also by the authorities if this takes place. Because as you say, the anti-Semitism we've seen in the last couple of months is beyond our wildest expectations. It's shocking, it's extreme, it's global, and unfortunately, as we know too well, it's in this country as well. And, you know, our community is extremely concerned. And I should add, it's not only the Jewish community, even supporters of Israel are coming under harassment, threat, abuse, and worse. At stake here is the viability and cohesion of our society at large, our multicultural democracy. We expect leadership to be consistent. We would expect our federal government to actually be consistent in acting on what they're correctly saying, that Hamas must lay down its arms, must be defeated, and cannot be part of the future going forward. Which is why we should have any permanent.
You are spot on. We're out of time. So we're out of time. Sorry, we are out of time, Colin. Thank you so much. We certainly support what
Thanks
you're
very
saying
much,
there,
Chris,
Colin
and all the
Rubenstein.
best.